Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Tiki with Ray, and I am in the bamboozled bungalow of my good friend Tom. And today we're going to talk about one spirit,
Yes.
one rum, well, kind of, and then the old version, and then a new version, kind of.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about this is a rum from Hawaii.
Not exactly a rum.
Oh, it's not a rum. Okay.
Well, Beach Bumberry and some the Grogalog suggested using Martinique rum as a substitute for it in drinks because he assumed you couldn't find any.
Yeah.
But in fact, I would say it's closer to a whiskey.
What's it called?
It's called Okolehao.
Okolehao.
Yes.
And you have a bottle of this here, right?
I do. Yes.
So, because look at that. That's awesome.
The bottom comes off.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yep.
Look at the size of this, and this is what it would come in.
Yeah. For tourists, anyway.
Even this would look good on
Yeah.
would look good on a shelf.
It's been out of commercial production for decades.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can't even buy this anymore.
No. We found this in a thrift shop or a junk store or something. Full, I might add.
You did.
It was a score. But see, it has a handy dandy ashtray as a base.
Yeah, it is an ashtray.
His hat comes off and becomes a tiki mug.
It's like oh, what? Really?
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, then it becomes what's that word? No, yeah.
Yeah, upside down. Not sure.
So back then, if you were going to buy a bottle of this, how much one of these would have cost you?
I don't know.
Was it expensive? Was it cheap?
I have no idea. It largely went on commercial production sometime after World War II.
Oh, so this is from...
I don't know how old it is. I'm not quite sure how long. Presumably...
It's not going to make us go blind, is it?
No, it shouldn't. What is this? Yeah.
I'm going blind already, as it is.
The drink of kings came from favorite drink of Hawaii during the reign of Kamehameha I. Well, there's a story about that, too. But the first monarch apparently had a private distiller who made this stuff as well.
So this has been around a long time.
Yes, it is the only genuinely Hawaiian liquor. Only.
Okay.
We can get into that
All right.
if you want to. Sure.
Yeah, please get into it.
Okay, sure. So
don't tease us like that, Tom.
Okay, so I read a few accounts.
Yeah.
Details vary, so if you find something different, go for it. But they think it dates from the late 1700s. It seems that the natives were in Hawaii were making a beer from the root of the tea tree or a tea plant, spelled T-I, not T-E-A. So starchy tubers they take and bake, which I presume would caramelize the sugars in them, at which point they become fermentable and make beer. Well, in 1790-ish, this is heavy. In 1790-ish, there was a sailor, not a sailor, it was a ex-convict actually. And I'm tempted to say his name was Stephen. He had escaped from New South Wales prison in Australia, caught a ride on a passing whaling ship, and which eventually stopped in Hawaii. I've encountered this story in more than one place, so it may be okay. It's a pretty good one, either way. Anyway,
I just think it's funny that he was from Wales and he jumped on a whaling ship.
Yeah. Anyway, so when they landed in Hawaii, the enterprising Stephen Wilkinson, I think his name was, he took two large iron pots from the whaling ship, which I assume they'd use to cook blubber or something in as part of their process. Yeah. But he converted them into a still and taught the Hawaiians how to distill the tea plant beer into what essentially is a whiskey.
Oh, so this originally started off as a beer?
Yeah.
A beer in a traditional sense, or probably more...
I've read both. I've read it was a traditional beer made from its tea plant. I've also heard that maybe some years before the Australian escaped convict visited Hawaii, that maybe some English explorers came there and taught them how to make beer. I don't know which is accurate.
So he's like, "Hey, you think that beer tastes good?
Yeah.
Wait till you try this."
Yeah. So it was amazingly popular, unsurprisingly, with both the natives and with visitors from the West.
Yeah.
And they've been distilling it in one form or another ever since.
Okay.
Now, it went through a fair share of bumps and jangles along the way. I mentioned the back of the bottle said, favored by King Kamehameha I.
Yeah.
True, with a provision.
What's that?
The provision was that it was so popular, and the pressure from Protestant missionaries was so great regarding both Okolehao and other aspects of traditional Hawaiian culture, that King Kamehameha actually slapped Okalehao's first prohibition on it.
Oh, really?
Yes. At the same period, we also saw a lot of other traditions disappearing too, including hula. And again, pressure from missionaries to change or erase parts of their culture. I think by 1833, King Kamehameha III dropped the prohibition on Okolehao because the missionaries were getting too powerful. It was sort of a political move. It wasn't because everyone was angry that Okolehao wasn't available anymore. They were, and there was all sorts of illegal production. So of
course,
it also went underground. Done on farms and people's basements. What have you. But so it came back in 1833. Remained popular, but then you get to the 20th century, then things kind of go sideways. Of course, there was a second prohibition. The U.S. government's prohibition caught it again. So once more, production of Okolehao went underground, and then of course there's a Great Depression in World War II. Now this actually helped sales. All this illegal tea plant whiskey sold like crazy. I mean, because they're selling supposedly to American Navy men and what have you fighting in World War II, and so great for sales, not so good for product quality. You read about all sorts of fast kind of sleazy batches being done, adulterating it with things like pineapple or rice or other things, and so after World War II it falls out of favor. Of course, you'd think, oh, okay, we have the Hawaiian hotel industry coming up now, and it's looking great. Why wouldn't they choose a native Hawaiian spirit? And again, the stories sort of vary. One suggests that
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, the well-heeled customers they're serving weren't interested in the local liquor. It was too strong. It was too this, too that. They wanted to drink cocktails that were riffs on things that were familiar with a little bit of a twist, but not something completely foreign to them. What I've heard. And also, of course, floating out there is that the Okolehao coming out of World War II, because of that and Prohibition or what have you, was not the same animal anymore, and its quality had gone down, or it just wasn't maybe as good. So, some point after World War II, I'm not sure exactly when. The commercial production falls on its face, and gradually the distilleries just disappear, and it goes back to its roots. It's still being made. It's not being made commercially. The tourist industry kept it around the longest. I think they were selling it for a while as a liqueur, which didn't go well. Now, interestingly, it had sort of a false comeback in the 1990s. Apparently, someone reissued it, but again, it was as a very sweet liqueur. Useless in the very few drinks the hotel industry ever came up with to use it in. This happened again in 2005, I think. Haleakala distillers made a Okolehao, but it was, again, a liqueur. I had it. It wasn't bad, but you couldn't really mix it in drinks calling for Okolehao, and
it just wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same. It was nothing like the 18th century thing that they had been making.
So what you have here is this isn't the liqueur, or this?
No, this is not.
Okay, so what are we going to try here?
We're going to try.
So what is this now? So it sounds to me there's different.
We're going to drink a, probably at least I'm guessing, at least 30 or more year old Okolehao.
It is 30 years old. Okay, well, all right.
I'm guessing, but it has been out of production so long. I spent years looking to find this stuff before I ever found any of it. And there's not much left. So we're going to use the last bit of this to compare it to a new product. Now, in 2012, a guy named Dave Flintstone, working for another distillery, and I'm struggling to remember the name.
Is he related to Fred Flintstone?
I don't think so. It's a tempting thought, but nah.
Fred Flintstone's a cartoon character.
Yes, I know.
So the answer is no.
Let me check my notes. Who's that guy's name? Island Distillers. This is relevant because this is in production now. Dave Flintstone. They're calling their version Hawaiian Moonshine, and the word Okolehao is used. Now, what he has to say about his product is that there were no surviving recipes of Okolehao from the 18th century, and so what it tasted like, they knew it involved, of course, baked tea root, but what it tasted like. Last little dribble there.
Yeah, that is it, huh?
Oh, yeah, that's it. We're last of this animal.
I'm honored to enjoying the last couple bits of this.
Yes, all in the name of education.
I love being educated. Does it matter that there is pieces of stuff floating around in there?
I think that's just...
This is how it is?
I think that's how it is.
Okay.
I think their filter wasn't maybe as
But you said this is
awesome
this is
as
probably
it
like
could
a 30-year-old.
Yeah, I'm totally guessing, but this baby has not been made commercially in a long time until, as mentioned, mentioning Island Distillers and Mr. Flintstone.
Hawaiian Moonshine.
Yeah, they brought this
out. They literally just call it Hawaiian Moonshine.
Yeah, and it has Okolehao written on there too. By the way, fun side note: those two iron kettles I mentioned that the Stevens, the escapee from Australia, had.
Yeah.
The name Okolehao means literally iron butt or iron bottom, and thought to refer to the natives' commentary on the two large round pots he used.
So this is brand new.
Yes, it was. Like I say, they started making it in 2012, and it's been doing reasonably well. He says it is as close to the original as they could make it. Based on, but it's based on to a large extent on.
Oh, that's clear.
Yeah, that's the first.
Should this be clear too, or is it just aged? Or
I don't know. But he said that it's primarily tea root. There's a little bit of sugar cane in here too. He said that based on the tasting, the tasting profile of the stuff, it's supposed to be a little sweet, and as I said, I think that sweetness comes from the fact that tea root's baked. Okay. Anyway,
so we're going to try both of these and see how they are.
Yeah.
So want to try the first one first?
We should.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, like I say, it is not clear. A, and B, it's kind of yellow. So clearly a different.
Well,
product.
You could smell this, but
yeah,
this doesn't.
And this has a faintly fruity aroma. You notice?
This smells more like vodka. This smells like.
There's a fruity touch. I remember this is being produced after a period where Okolehao production has gotten kind of dodgy. So I wouldn't put it past them to have like I said, they could have thrown some pineapple sugar or something in there too.
So let's try this.
Cheers.
Well, first of all, that was a lot smoother than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And you see, it is not. It is not a rum.
What does this taste? No, what does this taste like?
And I can see why Barry said, I tried substituting Martinique rum for it and it didn't work. Because to me, it doesn't taste a bit like Martinique.
It doesn't taste like. It doesn't taste like whiskey either.
Yeah, though in terms of process, I think it's closer to whiskey than rum.
Man, I've never had anything like this before.
With good reason.
No, it's not that I don't like it. I do like it.
No, but no.
Do you like it?
Yeah, the fruity that fruity note is more in the nose to me than it is in the flavor. You notice that?
Yeah,
I get almost.
This is really smooth. It was way smoother than I thought it was going to be.
And remember, it had a reputation in the tourist industry for being sort of a brass knuckles kind of a little too high a proof for the tourist sort of thing.
What is the proof on this?
This one, to my surprise, is actually 80.
80 proof.
Yeah.
That is truly unique.
Mm.
And I could see why people would maybe compare it to Agricole,
Yeah.
Because agricole is a very unique tasting rum.
Yeah.
But this doesn't really taste like agricole to me at all.
No.
It doesn't really taste like rum. It doesn't taste like whiskey. It doesn't taste like gin.
It's kind of its own animal.
It's completely its own animal. I don't know how you would use it in a cocktail, but we are going to use it. We're going to use the new one
in a cocktail. And we're going to compare the new one to some recommended substitutions in a cocktail too. Because some of that's out there.
So let's try the new one. So this is Hawaiian Moonshine.
Yes, Hawaiian Moonshine, subtitle Okolehao, by Island Distillers.
But not by Fred Flintstone, but his cousin
Dave Flintstone.
Dave Flintstone. Yabba dabba doo. What's the name of that joke?
This one has very little nose at all, but the flavor.
Well, this tastes nothing like the first one at all.
It's less sweet.
I think it's more sweet.
Think so?
I think this is more sweet. Okay, you know what these kind of remind me of,
what?
And this is a stretch. And this is the only thing that's coming to my mind. Aquavit, but not as as herbal.
Yeah, there's a note of sweetness to it though, and there's
it's more of like a vodka that has like a taste to it.
Yeah, and there's a taste element.
Especially this.
There's a taste element that is unfamiliar, and that I feel is common to both, and that's got to be the tea root. And what else is it going to be? Yeah.
This tastes more like vodka to me.
Yeah,
a sweeter vodka.
Yeah.
But that being said, kind of like an aquavit, but not like an aquavit because there's not a lot of herbal taste to it or notes or like that.
But there is.
This seems more like
there is a taste, and it's a taste.
This almost seems like something that you would use if you just want to like add booze, an alcoholic content to your cocktail.
Yeah.
Where this has more of the original had more of an original flavor to it, an original taste. I do like both, but they're completely different from each other.
Right.
What do you think? Do you like?
They're actually more different than I expected.
They're not even the same thing.
Well, I can taste. I say there's some notes that are similar, but it's presented in a very different way. And like I said, the other one had sort of a faintly fruity aroma to it. This one doesn't have that at all.
This one had a smell.
Yeah, it did.
This one had an aroma.
Yeah.
This one doesn't, but this one to me,
yeah.
If I was going to say what tastes more fruity.
Yeah. Mr. Flintstone noted that he tried his best from descriptions of how it tasted to recreate something for which there were no extant recipes for. He said the one.
This seems more workable. This seems more usable.
Yes.
Than the original.
Yeah.
Because I honestly don't know what you would put this in. Because I don't know.
Well, they tried it in some things.
They did try,
but not very many.
I can see why. Now, what is the proof on this moonshine?
100.
100 proof?
Yes.
Okay, so it is stronger.
Right, but 100, it's a higher than 80, 85 to 100. In theory, it was supposed to be more like the proof of actual Okolehao, because it was supposed to be, it was a unaged, a spirit, and is by all accounts overproof. And one of the stories of the tourist industry, of course, is that they are too strong. Presumably based on something. This is the fact that it was 80 is interesting. I would have assumed it would be higher than 80, but like I said, because it's for tourists, maybe they softened it up a bit. And so it may not be authentic.
And to be honest with you, Tom, if that's what it came in,
yeah,
I bet you a lot of people bought it just because it came in that.
Oh yeah,
that vessel,
I would buy that.
And they probably didn't even. They might have had like 1 or 2 pours of me, like no.
Yeah, and of course, in this case, they had no pours of it, and the seal was still on it. So they obviously got it just for the bottle.
So you're going to make us some cocktails.
Yes.
That actually that calls for this.
Yes.
But since we're already out of the original, you're going to use the moonshine.
Yes.
To make what do you think about making?
Okay,
this?
well, the first one, and I chose it because it has very few ingredients, so it provided good comparison. Not too busy. It's called the Chief's Calabash. It appears in the Intoxica. He assumes you can't get Okolehao and recommends subbing brandy. Interestingly, and I think about brandy, and it's like, having now tried both of these, and I can't even picture it.
So are you going to make 2 of these? One with brandy and one without?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yep, we're going to compare actual Okolehao, or the closest thing we have, to the substitution here. Now, he changes his mind. I think in Intoxica alone, he mentions both Martinique rum, which he later disavowed as a sub in Beachman Berry Remixed, and brandy. He never talks about brandy again.
Yeah.
He talks about bourbon later on, and we'll get to that.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's
do it.
Let's try this cocktail.
Okay.
So the drink you made us is the Chief's Calabash.
Yes.
So this is. I'll read off what it says: ½ ounce sweet and sour, a 1/4 ounce orgeat syrup, 1/4 ounce Lopez coconut cream, and then the 1.5 ounces of the Hawaiian spirit or brandy.
Yes.
So this one here, the first one is going to be with the original spirit.
Yeah, the paper bamboo straw is the Okolehao, the recreation
Moonshine.
of that spirit.
And then this is with brandy.
Yes.
But same cocktail, but
Yes.
just different.
Yeah.
Just
Beach
different.
Berry never says what he thinks about brandy compared to what he later says about bourbon being a better match. He says bourbon's better than rum, but he says nothing about bourbon versus brandy.
So I'm guessing that these are going to, even though one ingredient has been changed, I have a feeling they're going to taste completely different. So let's try the first one.
See what happens.
First of all, let's see if we even like it.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's an intentionally simple drink of 4 ingredients to help us kind of taste how things play in the mix better.
I like it.
That's good. It's balanced.
Very simple. Mm-hmm. Very, very light.
Yeah.
I don't know if the. See, I think that spirit, the moonshine, is almost kind of neutral to me to begin with.
Yeah. The aftertaste is where it gets interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this little something on the aftertaste as you're finishing a swallow that is interesting. That's actually the best part of the.
Yeah, but is that the orgeat though?
Almond is
no, I'm thinking it might be the sweet and sour.
The sweet and sour is homemade as usual. There's a little citrus note to it.
I was going to say there's a citrus note to it.
Yeah, that could be the sweet and sour.
So let's try it with the brandy.
Okay.
So this one here is same cocktail.
Yep. Only
brandy.
thing switch is brandy.
Okay, let's try this. I was right.
That is way different.
It's completely different.
Yep.
It's completely different, and I can taste the brandy in this.
Yes.
I could definitely taste the brandy.
So yeah, brandy, not a very close swap in for Okolehao, as it turns out.
This
way different.
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink it because you made it for me, and I will enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But the adjective that comes to my mind is, this tastes boozy. Or this tastes like a cocktail, like a well-made, crafted cocktail.
Yeah. Which is funny because the Okolehao is actually stronger than the brandy.
This taste. I'm guessing that this is how this cocktail should taste. This seems like you add the brandy and it just sort of tastes like.
Well, the brandy is more of a distinctive flavor on its own.
I think it overtakes it.
For some reason, I notice the almond flavor more. I don't know why. It's still good, but it is very different. Actually, it's more different than I expected.
I just taste the brandy. The brandy kind of overtakes everything.
Okay.
It's not bad. I mean, like, if I didn't try this and I tried this by itself, I'd be like, okay, this is a decent cocktail.
Yeah, but I get the almond though much more distinctly in this. And this one, like I said, it's a sort of citrusy like ping on
this doesn't even taste. This doesn't even. I mean, even though there's the coconut, this doesn't taste like a tropical drink to me.
Yeah, the coconut sort of
in a weird way.
The coconut sort of disappears, doesn't it?
But this one here is.
Yeah.
I wonder if you were to, instead of a better replacement would be just straight up vodka.
Because at least neutral.
Yeah.
And the brandy is not.
No.
Interesting. Okay, so don't substitute brandy for Okolehao. I think we agree on that.
Not in this cocktail. No. What are we doing next?
Well, the next one up is going to be the Polynesian Paralysis.
All right, so we're doing another cocktail.
In the original grog log, we're back to the Martinique recommendation. Later, in the Beach Berry remixed, he changes direction on this cocktail and says bourbon. If you can't.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try this cocktail with the original spirit, and then you're gonna do it again with bourbon.
Yes. And since it's a bold drink, I'm going to actually not make two, but make one, and we're going to split it.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be in a tiki bowl. I'm going to put it in something smaller so we don't kill ourselves here.
So for this next drink, you made us the Polynesian Paralysis.
Yes.
And this is usually a drink that you'd put in a bowl.
Yes.
But you just made us individual drinks for us.
I made one bowl drink per batch. So we each have the equivalent of one bowl drink. But one of these drinks, the one with the flour in it, is it's supposed to be served with an orchid normally. That's the one with Okolehao. The one without the flour is the one with bourbon. Which is Beach Bum Berry's current suggestion for Okolehao replacement.
So I'm really, really curious to see. So this drink has orange juice, unsweetened pineapple juice, sweet and sour, orgeat, the original Hawaiian Moonshine. That's what we're using that. And then the other one is with bourbon. Ezra Brooks, that's what you're using, right?
I went with simple and high proof.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're comparing it to moonshine.
So I just want to know, as you're seeing the recipe on the screen, that isn't one of these. This is two together. So cut that in half individually, and that's what we have. So this is another cocktail that uses that Hawaiian spirit, and we're gonna. Well, first of all, let's taste it with the Hawaiian Moonshine and see how that tastes.
Okay.
So. Here you go.
Cheers.
Cheers. That is great.
That is delicious.
Again, I could see that this would be like a crowd pleaser at a party.
Oh yeah, I've used it as a crowd pleaser at a party before. In fact, that's where most of that vintage bottle of Okolehao went. Squandered probably about 3/4 of it in a single evening of.
Again, you're dealing with a Hawaiian Moonshine, and this is smooth. This goes down really, really easy.
Yes, even though it's 100 proof, it's. And like I said, that's why I chose the bourbon. I wanted something simple, and I got it at 90. So somewhere at least in the ballpark. It has to be at least over 80.
Well, let's try it with the whiskey.
Let's do it. And in theory, Okolehao is more like a whiskey than a rum. But we'll see about the taste. Oh, wow. Again, the bourbon totally takes over, like the brandy did in the last drink.
Yeah, it does.
I can't taste much but the bourbon, actually. At least at the first.
It tastes like a creamy bourbon. It actually ruins it. I think if someone out there likes bourbon,
they probably like that drink.
They would like this drink.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a tiki drink that has bourbon in it, this is it.
That'd work.
But it's
a completely different effect.
It completely ruins.
We changed one thing.
Everything that makes this original cocktail great. And again, it almost makes me think this. Who came up with the idea of using bourbon in this?
That is the most recent suggested substitution in the Beach Bum Berry books.
Recent?
Recent. He starts with Martinique rum. He moves through brandy, as we've seen, and he ends up with bourbon as his go-to in Beach Bum Berry remixed.
I would say no. I would say
absolutely not.
Go vodka or go white rum. Before I would use brandy.
Overproof white rum.
Whatever. I mean, but the thing is, something that's a lot more neutral than this whiskey.
Yeah, because it's too much bourbon-y flavor. It just amazingly shines through all the other ingredients.
Yeah. So,
if you can,
there is no substitution.
Yes, we have not found an acceptable substitute.
So I guess this is a shout out to Hawaiian Moonshine. This is incredible, and this seems to me to be the right spirit in both of these cocktails. The brandy in the other one doesn't work for me. The whiskey, the bourbon in this one definitely does not work at all. This is great, and where can you get this?
Where can you get that?
Yeah, can you buy it here? Or do you have to go to Hawaii to get it?
I think you can find it online. It's available on the mainland. I know that
Yeah.
much. It's the odd liquor store that actually carries it, so I'd say order online.
Order it online, but I would highly recommend getting this because
Yeah,
it's a unique spirit, and in the cocktails that we made, it almost seems like it's made for those cocktails.
yes, and there are other ones that it uses. In Intoxica, there's also the Happy Buddha, which we didn't try today, which is guava nectar, roses, lime juice, Okolehao, and some other stuff. But it's well worth using the correct spirit in these,
Yeah.
from our experience.
Yeah. So, Tom, thanks for making all the drinks.
Sure, you're welcome.
But all right, let's get down to business and drinking these.
Yeah,
And again, Hawaiian Moonshine.
yes.
Who would
Okolehao.
have thought that they had moonshine over in Hawaii?